Thanks for joining me today. Let's see here. All right. Hey, Roddy. We've got this is Bayati. Did it sound like something else? Perhaps. Maybe I went somewhere else. All right. So today I wanted to talk about, um, setting goals for yourself and how to make that happen, and a little bit about the Masterclass uh, food learning program that I have. So yeah, if I don't know if you've been following the newsletter, but if not, here's a little recap. Um, so like, you know, finding out for the first thing what you want to get out of the oud, what you want to do with it. That's the most important thing. Write down your goals for learning and playing the oud, and it really doesn't matter how big or how small it is. Just it's important to identify exactly what you want from the oud. That way, as long as you know what you're going for, you'll figure out how to get there. The clearer your vision is, the easier you'll figure out the steps. So if you think you have an all right, so I was saying, got disconnected there. So first things first, write down and identify what you want to get out of playing the oud, what you want to learn, whether it's songs, whether it's to be able to play a nice takasim, and then figure out the steps you need to make to get there. And so that might be, taking lessons. That might be, um, learning how to read music, for example, or there's so many steps that go into it. Maybe as basic as getting your oud, getting the first oud, buying the oud. Write down all the steps that you need to get in to get there. And then number three, block out 20 minutes of your schedule every day to work on these steps. So work on, you know, looking for a new oud, buying an oud, getting the oud, figuring out what to practice, getting a teacher, finding a teacher. Take 20 minutes out of the day every day to work on these goals. Little by little, it doesn't matter how much time you spend. It's important that you're consistent with your goals and that you do it a little bit every day. Doesn't matter, a lot of people, want to do something, but they're just not starting. You just got to start. And so blocking out 20 minutes of your day to work on something like that will go a long way. Little by little, day by day, you'll be working towards those goals. And yeah, so that's what I recommend to do for getting your oud goals down. And later on, what you'll need to do, part of that, part of getting to your oud goals is having a practice system. So in the emails that I sent in the newsletter, I suggested a 15-minute practice system. So what you need is a stopwatch, your oud, and some exercises. And there's a link to the exercises there. I'll put the link in the description in the chat box too. One moment. So these are some exercises for beginners or advanced. You can be any level of oud player, and you can use these exercises. Here we go. So yeah, click that link, and you'll be able to check out some exercises. The videos are there too, and you can use this in your 15-minute practice system. So you have a stopwatch, your oud, exercises, and 20 minutes of time blocked out of your day that you can focus on practicing. So the first step in this 15-minute practice system is pick up the oud and get comfortable. Take a few moments to get yourself comfortable. Breathe, clear your mind. Maybe want to noodle around, whatever you want to do. Take 2 minutes and just do down up strokes to warm up. Do like down strokes, down and up on parallel strings. That's always a good place to start. Just do this, 2 minutes of this. Whatever your level is, you can still do that. Then 3 minutes of doing like exercises and working on tremolo. Practice some exercises and then practice working on tremolo, getting it relaxed. And then after you do 5 minutes of practice, take 30 seconds to just relax and take a breath. Remove tension from your body, and then put down the oud and pick it up again and get back to it. Then you want to spend the next 5 minutes reviewing familiar material. Practice tunes or pieces that you know really well already. This will help engage your muscle memory and it'll make you feel confident in your practice. If you practice something first that you know really well, you review it, then you're like, yeah, I can do this. And it'll help, your practice for the next 5 minutes, which is to work on some challenging or new material. So after you review familiar material, stuff that you already know, then take another 30 seconds break. Take a deep breath, release any tension, and restart. It's like restarting your computer, making it refreshing the RAM. You got to do that for your muscles and your brain too. Always remember to breathe. So in the last 5 minutes of the practice system, work on challenging or new material. So choose a new piece to work on, or if you're taking lessons, work on something you're not really comfortable with yet, something that you need to practice for your next lesson. This way, you're already warmed up. You've done some exercises, you've worked on your tremolo a little bit, you've played some familiar material, you feel a bit more confident, and you're mentally prepared to take on new challenges. Then, work through a new piece. Um, at that point, you can either stop or you may feel like you want to play more oud. That's really key. If you feel like you want to play more oud, give in. Now you've played a little bit, you've accomplished something, you can feel free to keep practicing. And you won't feel guilty that you put down the oud and moved on with your day. It'll feel good that you did that 15 minutes of practice. You worked on something with very focused attention. You specifically worked on something specific. You reviewed old material for 5 minutes. You did some new material for 5 minutes. That really helps you, like very condensed little practice. At the very least, this will keep you motivated to practice and it will encourage you to practice more. And at the very least, it will keep your skills up. It'll keep your skills toned and your muscle memory will have something to fall back on. Sometimes it's not always possible to get in an half an hour or an hour of practice per day. Sometimes you just need some 15 minutes to unwind and to play and have fun with the oud. This is a good way to keep your skills up with that. Always don't forget to have fun. As soon as you do this 15-minute practice, if you feel like playing oud more, just play something for fun. This may not work for everybody. This might not be the way that you want to go about doing things. There's different things for different people. Some people want to just you know have fun, play what songs they're familiar with, and keep going, and that's fine. But if you have specific goals that you want to work towards, and that you want to get down, then it's beneficial to have like a practice system. So that's why I suggest this 15-minute thing, especially if you're busy or on the go. Have 15 minutes to work on, you'll be able to keep your skills up. And then next key thing is to set a deadline. Deadlines give you a time frame to work towards. And so it also gives you like a good type of stress that will help you finish on time. The key is to be realistic. Like, don't push yourself beyond your limitations. Um, like I personally am a horrible judge of time. Like I always underestimate how much a task is going to take, and I end up, being late and rushed to finish. I had to learn that the hard way. So now I give myself extra time each time that I'm working on a piece or whatever. Um, with this, it's really nice to have somebody that's going to keep you accountable, like a oud teacher or a friend or something. Um, so that's what I would recommend for that. Just just checking some comments here. Sound is bad. All right, I'll see if I can help with that. You max it up a little bit. Try to see what I can do here. Yeah, if it doesn't get any better, let me know. I'll try to improve it for next time. All right. So where were we? So yeah, so having an oud teacher is a great way um, to keep yourself accountable. If you know you have a lesson coming up in 2 weeks or a week, then you know you gotta practice, and you can spend your 15 minutes a day practicing toward that goal. So let's remember to know what you want, get the details out to figure out how you're gonna get there, and then set aside time every day to do it, and set yourself a deadline to reach that goal. So let's say you want to learn a new piece. Tell yourself, mark in the calendar that you're going to practice it 20 minutes a day or 15 minutes a day until 2 weeks down the road, and you'll learn that song and play it well by that time or by your next lesson. So now I want to talk about some of the mistakes I made playing the oud, learning the oud, because I came to the oud after playing a few different types of instruments. I was playing the santur, which is a completely different instrument back when I was younger. Um, and the santur fills up the room with sound. It's like a wash of sound. So it's really easy to make a lot of sound and to make your playing sound full. And tremolo is the best. Is one of the key techniques in playing santur. It just fills up everything, and it sounds like an orchestra when you're playing the santur. But the oud is completely different. After learning the basics, I started to put my own ornaments and techniques into my playing. Um, but was coming from santur, so tremolo was default, kind of nice technique to add to my playing. So I started to do a lot of tremolo, but I realized that later on that it just starts to sound monotonous, and maybe playing sparser can help with that. So what I started to do was figure out, what techniques kind of suited the oud the most. Sometimes it's nice to play sparser. Like, let me give you an example here. For example, so let's say this piece that I was playing earlier, Saluni and Nas, this one here. Let's see if you can hear that. So you've got so sometimes nice to give space. So I could play it like this. So I could play it like that, or I could play it like this. Leave that space there after that note. I could do other things like add more notes here and there. But sometimes it's nice to just let it ring out, let the sound ring out, especially with the open strings on the oud. That's quite key. So I recommend experimenting with that a little bit. And that's what I learned. I learned that I was doing tremolo too much when I was playing the oud. I was coming at the oud from a santur perspective. But you don't have to do that on the oud. Sometimes playing quietly is nice. I thought I had to compete with other instruments, and play really loud, and so I that's what I was looking for. But now I kind of tone down, and now I kind of see that, well, playing softly here is nice, playing with a little bit more dynamics is nice here and there, and actually playing what suits the oud is the best thing to do. For example, I don't like to play too many chords. A lot of guitar players, they come to the oud thinking they can, do a lot of chords, but they don't sound great on the oud. That doesn't cater to the oud's strength. So I recommend doing what caters to the oud, like playing arpeggios instead of chords. Doing things like that rather than playing chords. That's one way of catering to the instrument, focusing on the strengths of this instrument. So after figuring these things out on my own, and realizing what's working and not, when you play for friends, they stop and listen, they enjoy more, and so that's what this course that I have, the Masterclass, is all about. It's all about getting the right techniques on the oud, and how to arrange a piece of music with these ornaments and techniques. So the main piece that I focus on in the masterclass is Samai Bayati Al Aryan, and it's a really nice piece. I'll play it here for you, and this is how it goes, very basically. So that's playing it with just really simple, playing it note for note as it's written, with no embellishments, no ornaments, just nice and soft. It sounds great. It would really, really, sounds great in just playing it simply. But you can add some things too that highlight certain parts. Watch. So that's one way you can play it. Adding tremolo, adding some extra notes here, adding some little quick, uh, what I like to call tremolo bursts, adding doubling up. You can then add bass notes. nice way that you can play it. You can also do cutoffs, mutes, like in the first section. Mute it. That really sounds nice and fun to play it that way. So those are some ways, some things that I show you in the masterclass, how you can apply these ornaments and techniques to your playing. And so we learn Samai Bayati Al Aryan in a basic form, note for note, in a very basic way first, and then there's an advanced section where it shows you the techniques that and the ornaments, the fills, the rhythmical fills, especially like. And I've written the notation out with the advanced version so that you can see how it's written, and I show you how you play it. That's basically what we do. We go through the basic version of Samai Bayati, then we go through the advanced version, and then I've got some other videos there with two other Samai. One by Mesud Jamil, Samai Nahawand, beautiful one, and Samai Hijaz by Mesud Muhammad Abdo. And these ones are nice because uh, I show you how I arrange them and what I add, what I take away. These videos are also there that you can see how I arrange these pieces. So you can see the common themes in these traditional Samai, what techniques are added in certain places. And after that, you get the pattern. You're able to then apply it to any song, and you can figure out, what to add. You can hear them when you hear recordings. You can hear what ornaments are being played, and then you can, absorb that, take that, and put it into your own playing. Also, I have a video on how to an arrangement for Hijaz Mandira, which is a Turkish piece from the um, Ottoman period. I really love the version that Nejati Celik plays um, on one of his albums. Just an amazing piece. It goes like this. So that piece there's also a tutorial on how to play that and how I arrange it, and it's based off of Nejati Celik's arrangement. I show you a cool tuning that you can use, the drop, a drop bass string tuning that you can use for that piece and play it in a certain key to make it sound really full on the oud. So that's another section of the master class as well. And of course, I have done a tutorial on the introduction to Alf Leila wa Leila, um, and that's also you can learn what embellishments and what ornaments I add to the introduction of that piece in order to play it nice and full and with expression and whatnot. So that's basically the rundown of the master class. But in line with keeping with your goals for learning the oud, um, the cool thing about this month that I'm doing is I'm promoting Skype lessons. So um, if you purchase this weekend, you'll be able to get two follow-up Skype lessons with me, Skype or Zoom, whatever you're comfortable using. And it'll be a little bit cheaper. It's a little bit cheaper of a package that you can get these oud lessons with the master class, so that you can go through the master class, uh, go through all the content, learn it, and then come do a couple follow-up lessons with me at your own convenience. You have 6 months to be able to redeem these lessons and come get online with me. We can go through the sticky parts. If something didn't make sense, you can get immediate feedback from me, and you can figure out what to do with these ornaments and techniques. If you have another piece that you're working on, we can add learn how to add techniques to that one. It's great. It'll be a great way to motivate you to learn by having someone to keep you accountable. And so that's what I'm offering this month for Skype lessons, a package with two Skype lessons. You basically save some money on these Skype lessons if you get this package. I'll get the details, bring the details up. If you have any questions about anything, I will get to them at the end of the YouTube live here. Just wait, I'm gonna bring some details on the prices and all that stuff for the masterclass. So yeah, the masterclass, the promo package that I'm offering now with two Skype lessons, which are usually $50 per 45-minute lesson. You get the whole masterclass and two Skype lessons for $199. So it's a pretty good deal, I think. Anyway, two Skype lessons with me are usually $100. So I think it's a pretty good deal, and it'll help you really get your goals and have someone to keep you accountable. If you're not interested in the Skype lessons, but you're still interested in getting the masterclass and get the bonus lesson on how to apply these ornaments and embellishments to Alf Layla wa Layla, the complete package is 118 USD. Yeah, so if you have any questions, let me know in the comments in the live chat. Let's get to some of them now. So I want to start to play oud. Would you recommend Turkish oud or Syrian oud? That depends. Like, are you what are your inspirations for the oud? Are you interested in learning Turkish style oud, or are you more interested in Arabic style oud? The sound is really different. Like what I've been playing here is a Syrian made oud, Zeryab oud. It's an entry level oud. Um, Turkish oud here. This is now the quality of this oud is much different, but it'll give you an idea of what the sound difference is. It's a very different sound that you have on this oud. Very different sound. Um, we're talking different quality ouds here, different price points, right? But the sound of Turkish ouds are going to be a bit different than Arabic ouds, and it's hard to describe the difference of sound. I think Arabic ouds are a bit more rustic, I just put a new set of strings on here, and so the string that may show in the strings, they're not quite stretched out yet. So yeah, whether you want a Turkish oud or a Syrian oud depends on the type of music you want to play. So if you want to play Turkish music, I'd recommend getting a Turkish oud. If you want to play Arabic music, I recommend getting an Arabic oud. But there are considerations there. Like with a Turkish, you could get a Turkish oud that is set up to play Arabic music. It's not going to sound exactly, like an Arabic oud, but you can play Arabic music on a Turkish oud. There's no problem with that at all. So it depends. But if you like, sound wise is the most important thing usually. But if you have more specific questions, you can always email me at support@oudforguitarist.com, and I'm happy to get more into detail about, what your needs are, and I can help you find an oud. So I'll put the email address here. All right. So question about tuning: equal temperament versus just intonation. Should A4 be 432? What kind of just intonation we use? Perfect fourth. How does that work exactly? So most people, what they do, they just tune with the tuner to one string. Like what I do is I take out the tuner. If I'm playing with an ensemble or something, you decide, everybody tune to G. Tune to like, A440 G. So I take my tuner out, I tune the G string up, and then I tune all the other strings in relation to my G string. So I make sure that they sound harmonious to me. I don't want any wavelengths, So you tune everything to G, and whether or not you follow just intonation, depending on your tuning, you may not have so much luck if you use a tuner that's calibrated for just tuning, just intonation. So what I usually do to tune my oud, I tune G to 440, A440. Then I tune my top C string. I make sure that's in tune harmoniously with my ear. Then I tune D in relation to G. Then I'll tune A in relation to D. And then I'll check it with A. I'll check my A string with G to make sure that there's not too much dissonance. If they sound okay, then I move on. Then I tune F. I tune it with G. Whatever you do, don't tune your F to the major third interval A. Then it throws everything off. And so there's some considerations you have to do when it comes to tuning the oud. That's why, some beginners, they just, for some beginners, you just tune this one to G because you have the open G string. You can tune this one to G easily. It's a more easy tuning to get into. Then I make sure that my low bass C string is in tune with everything else. G, F. So yeah. It's complicated with tuning. I hope I've answered your question in some way or form. I've never really played with calibrating my tuner to just intonation and going with that. I just go by ear. But you want to aim for perfect fourths. That's basically the golden rule. But the F string needs to be tempered a little bit, especially when you're using the F tuning. Don't tune it to A. Does tuning significantly affect ornamentation? Absolutely. So some people, they like to tune their oud like a guitar. So they have G, and then they tune another string to something else, or they like to have the major third interval. You lose the ability to play certain ornamentation that way. Like for Arabic violin, they also they tune to different tuning because you need to have a certain tuning in order to have the ornamentation. You just can't do it any other way, and that's what's brings out the charm of the oud. So I recommend to stay with the traditional tunings. The basic tuning is C, G, D, A, and then the bass notes are optional if you prefer G, depending on the scale you're playing, or D. I tune to F and C because I think it's the most well-rounded tuning that you can do a lot of stuff with. So do I ever use the oud as a percussive instrument while playing, like in the style of Gabriela of Rodrigo y Gabriela? I'm not familiar with that artist, unfortunately. I don't do much with percussive things on the oud. I just that's not really my thing. I focus on melody, interesting melodies that are simple and beautiful, and yeah, I don't really use it as a percussive instrument. But there are people who do it successfully. Yeah. Have there been times where you've wanted to quit the oud because it's so difficult? Yeah, there's. Mm, there not so much that it was difficult, but that it wasn't really suiting the music that I was playing. So I'm a primarily I'm a Iranian musician, and oud doesn't fit very nicely in the traditional Iranian ensemble. So for that reason, I've often thought like the oud just doesn't make sense in this context. It doesn't really fit anywhere. So I was getting very frustrated with that. But I always came back to the oud because um, the sound of the oud is what I enjoy so much. Yeah, so it never really so that it because it was so difficult. There were frustrating times where I couldn't really hold the oud that well, or like I was really struggling. The oud really takes a lot of focus because it's fretless, and you really have to be on your toes, on your tiptoes to get the right notes. So it takes a lot of diligence, and you really gotta, keep that focus. That's why I recommend daily practice. If you put the oud down for some time, as you're learning, it may be difficult for you to. You may lose some of the practice that you've gained. It may be hard to get that back up, so that can be frustrating. Can I make a video explain the notes and how they work with fingers down on the soundboard? Like up here, you talking? Yeah, that's a good suggestion. I'll think about that. I really recently finished Oud Foundations 1. How can I judge if I'm ready to move on to 2? In the meantime, I learned Bint al-Shalabiya and Alf Layla wa Layla. Well, it sounds like you're ready for Foundation 2. If you in Bint al-Shalabiya, I believe, is in that section, and so yeah, you may benefit from moving on to it. Depends on how you're doing with the first material. If you can play stuff, almost flawlessly, then definitely move on. Yeah, I recommend moving on once you feel like you've got the hang of it. Some things don't get ironed out right away when you're learning the oud. I just always my idea is to, as long as it's not a big bad habit, I just recommend people keep pushing forward, keep progressing, because uh, the problem might solve itself. So if you feel like you have some problems, then uh, that are not getting solved, then you may want to work on some of the material again. Make sure you're really paying attention to your form and how you're playing the oud. But if you're flying through the material, then definitely get on to the next one. What's the most practical tuning, Arabic or high F? I personally think this tuning is great, the one that I use: C, G, D, A, F, and C. I think it works for all music. The high F string and the low C string are extra. They're extra strings. They're extra range for the oud. But most of everything that you play on the oud that works well for the oud is on 5 courses, the basic 5 courses: C, G, D, A, F, or G. Right. So that's what I say anyway about that. It depends on your style of playing. If you like to hit bass notes and support your stuff, or if you want to play, you know, you want to play more melodic stuff that go high and do flashy stuff with arpeggios, then some people like the high F string to be there. What if we're not ready to tune by ear? Could you measure your strings after you are done tuning? Could you use that as a reference point? Uh, the, doing that is kind of tricky. I could do something like that, um, with showing what my strings are tuned to. I could show you right now if you want. Like, let's see here. I don't know if this will. Let's see if this shows. Okay. That's G. Now it's always going to fluctuate a little bit. Here's my C. C is right on. And sometimes I tune to C. In this case, my bass string was in tune, so I tuned to that. So C's there, G, a little bit flatter. My D is a bit flat. As a beginner, it's okay to tune with a tuner. That's fine. My A's were almost right on. F is just a bit flatter. Yeah. So yeah, that's what it is. As a beginner, you're not going to notice so much the subtle differences, so it's okay to tune by digital tuner to equal temperament. It's okay for a while, but after a while, like, it's enough to bug me when after time. So I don't tune completely with a tuner. I just tune one of the strings and then move on to the next ones and make sure my ear's happy with it. If my ear's happy with it, then I'm not happy. It just bugs me. So I hope that helps. Yeah, Turkish tuning. Yeah, absolutely. D, A, E, B, F sharp, and yeah, the next one depends on what you're using. Yeah, that's a great tuning too. 5 strings all in fourths. You can do that on the Arabic oud as well. Yeah. Where did you get the other oud from, and for how much? The Turkish one, right? This Turkish one is from Yildirim Palabiyek, and this oud costs about 2,500 USD. It's like playing a very nice. It's like driving a nice sports car. That's the feel of the play is just really nice. And the sound is loud. Very sophisticated tone. Right now I have it in Turkish tuning with Turkish strings. And but if I put on higher tension oud strings, I can play it in Arabic tuning. And yeah, I really like his ouds. If you want to buy the Yildirim Palabiyek oud, email me, and I have some information that will potentially help you maybe get a discount, because I help promote Yildirim ouds on my website. So email me if you're interested, and I can give you more information about that. Yeah, I really like his ouds. They work well for Arabic and Turkish tuning, and they're very balanced, very natural sounding. So yeah, so that's basically all I wanted to talk about, and I hope you do check out the masterclass. And let me know if you have any more questions about the masterclass. I'm all here to help you reach your oud learning goals, and I want to see you playing the oud better and better as time goes on. Another question: do you have a video on how to deal with buzzing strings? How do I keep my oud clean and in good shape? Buzzing strings. There are a couple things, but there's so many different variables that go into buzzing strings. I don't have a video that goes into that, but that might be a good video to address those issues. Um, how do I keep my oud clean and in good shape? Wipe it down with a towel. Designate a towel that's your oud towel, and wipe it down after you've played with it. I never really do much to wipe down the oud. I usually wash my hands before I play, make sure I'm clean, not too sweaty. Um, yeah, use a cloth, wipe it down. That's how I recommend you do it. Nevertheless, you're going to have some wear and tear no matter what on the instrument. It helps make the instrument yours. Yeah. So if you have no further questions, I will put the link to the masterclass in the chat room for you so that you can check it out, and email me at the email that I've added to the chat if you have any questions about the masterclass. Thank you again for joining me here, and good luck with your oud learning, your oud playing. Email me anytime if you have questions or anything like that. Have a good one. Bye.